Alright, tier list. It's time to talk about who I personally think are the best 10 TURs in Dokkan Battle. And we'll also, take a little dabble into my top 10 overall at the end here. So I have a couple of lists made ahead of time, right? But we're going to be talking about my top 10 units. Now, I want to preface and say you could switch around a lot of these spots, and this list could easily change in the future. I mean, like, many units, like let's take an example, like not TUR but LR Super Buu. LR Super Buu gets like a LR Bootanks or LR Buhan or something, probably LR Buhan, right? And then Bootanks EZAs, and then there's like a really strong Majin team, and then like LR Buhan needs a really strong slot 1 unit, and then Super Buu is like way up in a tier list, right? Or something like that, where like a unit could be really relevant, like AGL Kel. Maybe we get like an LR Super Saiyan 2 Kefla. She has like 70% chance to dodge, top 3 in the game, and then bam, HO Kel is actually really good now, and she's much more relevant in the game. Things like that can always happen, but I view this more so as like a current state of how the game is right now in terms of what units are the best and how they affect the other units in the game, rather than specifically, oh, this unit is stronger than this unit, because at this point designs are so complex with units that like there's like 7 units I feel like in the game that could look like quote unquote the best unit in the game on like a specific best turn, but there's a lot of factors that can lead to that, right? Without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about my top 10. And at number 10, I actually do have Majin Vegeta here. So in fact, this is a unit that is a very big, factor of that. When he came out, he was kind of ass. Like, he was, he wasn't the worst 200% lead, because I feel like the next 2 releases after, man, those were kind of stinker releases. Like, we had Majin Vegeta come out, then we had, like, Majin Vegeta was obviously very cool, right? But he came out and he kind of sucked. Then we had, Raditz, who was god-awful. Then, who was after Raditz? It was Golden Week Goku, Cell. Those are probably the best too, but like they weren't having designs. Then we went all the way back to Resurrection F Blue Goku, and it's like none of those units have really aged well except for Majin Vegeta. You know why? Because Vegeta and Trunks came out after Resurrection of Blues came out, right? And this guy got really buffed, very much helped by the LR, and he shot up in rankings, right? And like you get him, I honestly thought he was worse than Tech Gohan, but then I feel like he became better than Gohan after like Vegeta came out. Like that's an example of unit could be introduced and bam, this unit's so good again, right? He's at 10 right now though, and that's because I just feel all the units are better than him, right? It's not because he's bad, he can still put in a lot of work, but this guy came out well over a year ago, and while the general power creep of bosses haven't really gone up too high, one thing you do have to consider is that the 2 hardest bosses, like 2 of the hardest bosses in the game right now, especially the hardest in Shenron, is physical type. So this guy does have type disadvantage. The good thing about him is that you run him on a lot of sane builds where there's a lot of super class units, but this guy's extreme class, so he actually is tankier compared to other super class tank units in consideration of the type neutral compared to type disadvantage, or I guess you could say class neutral instead of class advantage, right? Because it's extreme versus extreme rather than super versus extreme, right? So that's pretty cool to think about, right? But besides that, yeah, he's just 10. He doesn't do damage at all. He still needs the 6 key spheres for this reduction, which could be an issue at times, right? I mean, there's definitely a lot of rainbow orb changes that you can run, like Path to Power Kid Goku on the master on a bottom parent child team, but he is pretty much locked to like this team because Vegeta and Trunks aren't on this team. Vegeta and Trunks aren't on the Piccolo Jr. team, right? And it's like all these other teams, like Pure Saiyans, Vegeta and Trunks isn't on. Like none of these other teams you're gonna run. And it's like he's pretty much stuck to this Vegeta and Trunks team for the most part, which it's like their team is really good, but there's so many options now, right? You could definitely get away with this guy's uploader though, and he is very still tanky in many bosses, right? But yeah, that's Vegeta. Next we have the oh wait, wrong one. We'll have Yamcha actually. Well, this is hard because I feel like I'll put these 2 on here because I accidentally had him there, but I think that these 2 are very close in terms of power. Yamcha got buffed a lot recently. I'd still say like the 17s are stronger. And 17s like such an unfortunate release. They like again the 17s are another unit. If we got like top like 3 TUR, Android 13 that supports like Target Goku, and then we got like a like a new legendary Goku event or something, or a Goku boss fight, and then Jiro 19 are really good. Not Jiro 19, Jiro Mew are really good. It's like this guy can go like shoot up so much higher, but this guy doesn't have that help that he wants, right? While Yamcha, I feel like if we look side to side, Yamcha has a much better leader skill. It's like Yamcha, he's more of like early on in fights, and then the androids are like late in fights, right? So it's like Yamcha's much better early on. I feel like again Yamcha has a lot. Like Yamcha still has some really really good partners. Like if you take a look here at Yamcha again, he's been getting a lot of help recently. The Dokkan Festival Yamcha. Like if you take a look here, I mean, Ultimate Gohan came out and it helped him pretty well. I mean, this Krillin, he doesn't support him unfortunately. But like you go over to Yamcha on like Goku's, what's it called, the Warriors Raise and Earth team, that could be really well. I'm pretty sure he links well with the. No, he actually doesn't link as well with the new Goku as I thought. But like Yadra was really good. Kai Goku was quite good, right? I thought he linked better with the new Goku, but I guess he doesn't, huh? Yeah, only 2 links, in Fighter and Fierce Battle. It's not really that great. Yeah, okay, I did look at it ahead of time, so probably just not remembering. But I don't know, this 17 is like he wants a super class boss. He needs like a longer fight to build up. He probably is, no, he's definitely better in Sin than this guy though. Like for example, I think Sin is a major factor. Just in-type units are at an inherent disadvantage. It's like how Cell Max came out in AGO units were at an inherent disadvantage in terms of like, oh, the strongest unit in the game, right? I feel like I do have to consider there's multiple physical bosses that are strong, and it's like there's not like multiple tech bosses that are strong. There's just Cell Max, right? This guy's really good against Cell Max, but yeah, it's tough. It's like, if you're in a slightly longer event, this guy's better. If you're in a shorter event, I think this guy's better, right? You could convince me to put Yamcha at 9, but again, it's very close between these two. I feel like overall, which, I mean, it's not that bad because they're like a few months apart, but this post anniversary character, this is pre 8th anniversary character. Power creep didn't increase that much, but the unit designs are, I feel like, a lot more solid. Like we have God Goku, we have the 23rd Budokai Goku and Ma Junior. They're definitely on this list. We have again the 8th anniversary units are Supreme. We got Orange Piccolo before that time, right? Eijo Kai Goku. Like there's a lot of these units that kind of stepped up the game, and these androids didn't really feel like they met that. They feel like a 2021 design, 2022 design unit instead of 2020. No wait. My brain's not working well. Wait, why does it say March 6, 2022? Is that a joke? They came out in 2023. I was confused for a second because I looked at this date. No, but okay. I mean, if they were a March 6, 2020 unit, that'd be pretty insane. But like a later half 2022 unit, right? Is how I'm feeling about them. Yeah, so next we have the Gamma 2, and then we'll put Gamma 1 as well, right? So both the Gammas right here, which is kind of crazy. They're at 7 and 6 on this list, but there's been a lot of good units that have been coming out, right? The Gammas, I just don't like putting them apart from each other. I feel like the Gammas are just too good to keep apart, so that's why I have to keep the Gammas here. They're just really, really powerful together. I think one reason I don't have them as high maybe is because they're not really, I feel like they're on superheroes, right? And they're on the movie heroes team, and then those are just the 2 teams they're on. They do really well in those teams, but at this point, like, we're getting so many 200% leader skills that units are able to be used in like 5, 6, 7 teams, right? And I think that could be helpful, right? Especially for these guys, like, they're kind of like good support units. They just clear every boss very easily though. Amazing leader skills for both of them, and I think I like Gamma 1 slightly better than Gamma 2, just because I think I just like the more defensive aspect of this guy. If you're a more offensive fan, sure, you could put Gamma 2 above Gamma 1, but no matter what, you have to agree that they are reliant on each other, and they are a very strong rotation. Still one of the best rotations in the game. Like if you made like a top 10 rotations tier list, I feel like these guys have to make it, like, for sure. This rotation is stupid good, right? Even then. Gamma 1 has Gamma 2 has a nullification, which, to be fair, this kind of technically got a little worse, like the nullification, well, it's like a counter technically got a little better because of the recent change where now counters can activate even if the boss disables dodge. Like Gamma 1, for example, the early phases of Red Zone Broly, the both of them are unarmed super attacks. Gamma 1 can now counter there. Well, it's Gamma 2, he's always been able to nullify, but it's like a nullification now is just kind of a worst version of the counter because it's like both of them could be used against dodge, but one deals damage to the enemy and the other doesn't, right? So I guess that's one thing to think about. But yeah, these two, I don't think I have to really talk about why I like them as much as I do. I'm sure many of us are big fans. Unfortunately, not on global again yet. You guys are gonna have to wait till the anniversary for these guys to come back because they're on the anniversary banners, and it's like that's crazy. Global schedule is really messed up. They have to catch up global soon, man. Please, like I know we've been saying that for years, but dude, it's like these units are so late. Worldwide celebrations are 11 months late. It's just dumb, really, really, really dumb. And it's like if anniversary was same time, for example, then both of us would have the gammas at the same time, right? I don't know. I just don't like what they did there, but yeah, 6 and 7. Yeah, dude, 6 and 7. Wow. That feels so weird because for a long time, from like when they came out in October all the way until like God Goku, like these units were like top 3 GURs, right? And then now we're just getting a bunch of units that just are, I feel like, better than them. Except Kale. Yes, Kale is a bit lower than I had before. And again, we'll just talk about the second one again. Path to Power Kid Goku's right here on this list as well. At 3, instead of like 4 like I had before. So we'll talk about Kale. It's more so like Kale, the Universe 6 restriction is so like Kale just stayed the same because she didn't get the Universe 6 buff. I think that this restriction does suck. I feel people slightly overrate how bad it is. I don't really have issues most of the time. Like, you could just get the Kales as a rotation together, have this Kale and Caulifla floating around on the team. They build up quite fast, and as a floating unit building up stacking, I think they work fine. The issue is Frost didn't really support them. This is like a Caulifla unit, that'd be great. If like STR Kefla got like an easy and was a good slot 1 unit. If we got like LR Super Saiyan 2 Kefla, if we had a more pure Saiyan bosses, this girl could like, be slot 1 dodge early on. It just early on Kale is not that great. And like I said earlier, I feel like, when I was talking about Yamcha versus 17s, I think that early on is, probably a little more important in a lot of the phases, though I feel like Sin Shenron does last quite a while considering he's a 3-phase fight, that he you can get to like turn 6, 7, 8 with him, even depending on the like team you're running. I don't know, her leading transformation was kind of weird. It's just compared to her, she stayed like the same, I feel like, power wise, but I think Kid Goku actually got a huge buff because of the new tech Goku that came out, right? I mean, I could bring up the link partner again, but we see Path to Power Kid Goku, he got quite a lot of help here with the with a lot of these recent releases too. If we scroll down here, all the way down here, right, again, like these two units link well with him. This Krillin doesn't support him, and Path to Power Kid Goku doesn't support this guy. But that's still like, like 2 new really good linking partners with this guy. And you could provide them, like you could provide Krillin the extra 8% reduction. So you can get 68% and 48% reduction depending on pre and post attack. This Goku's a guard unit, so damage reduction plus the guard is such an insane ability. Hachan is still really good. He links well with Tien still. LR Ultimate Gohan is another unit that's been getting a lot of buffs. And LR Ultimate Gohan is still really good. I mean, I would honestly still say he's underrated in the community because I feel like a lot of people think he's actually bad, but he's more like quote unquote bad, where it's like he's not as strong as he should have been, but you could use him to very easily clear much difficult content in the game. Kai Goku's really good here. Yamcha he works really well with, even Roshi on that team works really well with Piccolo Jr. Like he links well with, like, there's a lot of these units recently that he like just shoved a bunch of units onto here that like link very well with this guy. And then his impact on so many of these different teams, like look at his teams, but look at his teams. like there's a bunch of teams that are really good. Earthbred Fighters, Bond of Parent and Child, Bond of Friendship. He works well on the Pan team, right? He's on Pure Saiyans, he's on Movie Heroes, Goku Family, you know, Kamehameha. He's eventually gonna get a new team, like obviously, right? My only thing that I wish that they did is they add like the World Tournament units to Dragon Ball Saga, which is Boyhood Saga, and they just change the name. Like they just update the category to Dragon Ball Saga. That's just the stupidest thing ever. But more than likely, they're just going to introduce a new category later, which it sucks. Like imagine if he was providing this 50% support to the World Tournament Goku or Ma Junior, or you know the Krillin. Like that'd be insane. But that's just not what we're seeing here, unfortunately. I mean, if we get like a Demon King Piccolo Part 2 LR, this Kid Goku will be supporting him, which is good. But I don't know. I feel like that's the only thing about the Goku in terms of like the buffs he received this celebration. But he's like, I just think he's more impactful. And again, like I said, it's more about not the character strength, because I think Kale is stronger than Kid Goku, but Kid Goku's more relevant. And they're like on, it's like Kid Goku's on like, people forget Kid Goku's still really strong too, right? That's the thing. But it gets really hard because like I feel like it's very, very difficult. We'll talk about the next one though. We have God Goku. So I do have God Goku above it. God Goku is another character Kid Goku works really well with because the rainbow orb changing, right, really helps this guy get his 6 orbs requirements, giving him the damage reduction with another guard unit, right? There's just a lot of things there. It's like every release that comes out, Kid Goku helps, which is why I'm a huge fan of him. Because even if he's not supporting, damage reduction support is really, really good for those with existing defensive mechanics. Rainbow orb changing is really good. That's sad, right? But God Goku probably has the best leader skill. No, does he have the best leader skill? Actually, I don't know. We'll talk about it in a second, right? This guy's leader skill is stupid good. He's a permanent stacker. He orb changes to get the orbs. He gets guard, 60%, you know, dodge. He has the what's the word? Double super attacks built in. He's pretty crazy, and he could work really well to slot one in. Look at the teams he's on, dude. He's 8th anniversary teams, you know, the new Tech Goku's team, Vegeta Trunks' team, LR God's team. We have the GT Duo team. This is led by Gamma 1, right? Gamma 1 leads Accelerated Battle. No, he doesn't actually, but that's a team that I feel like could get a lot of help in the future. You know, if you'd like to run Pan's team, he could work really well in there. There's so many teams here. Realm of Gods and Super Saiyans team dual leaders. He leads Pure Saiyans, he's on Movie Heroes, he's on Kale's team, he's on Tech Product team. Like there's so many 200% leader skills this guy's on, and he is such a good like anchor on the team, or like an extra addition. Even if you need him as a floater, he works really, really well in that situation. And then his active skill hits quite hard because he's stacking attack. It's guaranteed crits. And then this Super Saiyan Goku, I think he's also really, really good. His defense, you know, could get high enough to even tank like Red Zone Broly super attacks or something, right? And I like the dodge, right? Because what could happen is you could just put him in slot 3, and even against like Sin Shenron, he could have that great chance to evade against all those AoEs if they're in the, you know, first few slots, and then, you know, you're less likely to get super attacked, which would be the only thing that can kill him once he attacks, right? But this Super Saiyan Goku does do quite a lot of damage here as well. I can't stress how good his leader skills as well. It's stupid because like Pure Saiyans and Hybrid Saiyans, like you're gonna be able to use this guy as a lead in like a year or 2 from now, because he's actually a really good floating unit. Because whilst he could be slot 1, like he's guarding, stacking, dodging. Like as a slot 3 unit, he gets all this attack and defense on super attack, right? Like this when attacking, and then actually that's pretty much it. But this when attacking, 50% is actually quite huge considering he's a stacking unit and stuff like that. This God Goku is quite incredible. I'm a huge fan of him. But next we have the last 2 units, Goku and Majin, very obviously, right? I'll talk about them right now. I'm gonna put Majin at 2, and I'm gonna put Goku at 1. I think it's like, you could honestly, I kind of want to do this. Like if I do this, I might just do this actually. Yeah, I think they're like neck and neck. I think that it's just very dependent on the situation which one's better. And who would I put at 10? I think Ginyu at 10. You're like Ginyu, Pan, Bardock, maybe. I don't know. who would I put at 10? I kind of wanted this. I think I'll just put Bardock at 10. I think Bardock is really underrated too. I think I'll put Bardock at 10. It doesn't matter, the 10 spot, whatever. But these two are neck and neck. I do like, I slightly like Goku better, right? We'll talk about Piccolo Jr. first. Amazing unit, really, really strong. I think that Piccolo Jr. does have a lot of different aspects to him that I think is pretty important. He has the high chance to launch the additional super attack here, and then he has a medium chance to launch the additional super attack here. Then he has a high chance as a second attacker. So it's like turn 1, he can do 4 super attacks, and then he builds up his full passive, and then he has like 2 mil defense turn 1, and it's like that's absurdly crazy. And it's like, yeah, this guy is quite good. I mean, I saw a clip of him tanking Metal Cooler Core super attack when he's built up for double digits. Like, that's absurd. Like, that's dumb. It's really crazy, right? How good Piccolo Jr. is. I just don't like, this guy's too good, right? I'm a huge fan of this Piccolo Jr. unit, but yeah, I think his leader skill, at first I wasn't really a fan, but it's basically just a better version of Cooler's team, and there are a lot of options you could run here. But I think this guy really wants like part 2 LRJ King Piccolo. That'd just be so helpful for him. And you can't forget, I mean, his 2 most powerful abilities, right? We'll talk about this active skill first, right? AoE active skill disables an action of every enemy once within the turn. Can be active when an HP is 50% or below, or facing 2 enemies. Like, he's going to be good forever in Super Battle Road World Tournament. Like, in 3 years, you'll use this guy for Super Battle Road World Tournament. So his value is quite high there. Giant Form, we know how broken Giant Forms is. Maybe I have to do a video on it, but essentially, not only does this, like, the turn could be really crazy because you have to be under the HP threshold, right? So let's say if you enter the turn under 50% HP, you get the Giant Form. His Giant Form has a high chance to crit, or at least is super effective. He's basically auto supering with the 3 key here, and then he does quite a lot of damage to the boss. If the boss super attacks you during that turn, then they use up their super attack for that turn, so when you return back to normal, you can't get super attacked. Same with like Sin's AoEs. If he uses his AoE attacks during the turn, then he can't AoE you during that turn. So he protects the whole rotation because of that. It's basically, as long as your units could take normals, it's a Ghost Usher effect, essentially. Then he comes back here, and then he could use his active skill in slot 2. He gets the 100% attack and defense buff. He does not get this additional, actually. The reason why he does not get this additional is because, like, this is when performing a super attack, right? But this is just as a second or third attacker, and how, like, it is in the data, it only activates when collecting orbs as a second attacker, right? Based on how they have it in the data. So he doesn't get this high chance to launch an additional guaranteed if you move him to slot 1. Like, he does get these extra stats, and then you move him to slot 1, where he'll get this 100% attack and defense that are like baseline. Then he gets this multiplicative 60% attack and defense. Then he's raising his defense and attack for 1 turn, and he's like starting off on like 901 mil plus defense. And then he's probably at like, 3 mil levels of defense, right? Even if he like, and then he could do 3 super attacks. He could do his super attack, this medium chance could proc, and then the hidden potential one could proc. It could also proc off this, right? The hidden potential one could proc off this right here. It could proc off his super attack and this medium chance. He's also super effective against all types, against one enemy. So all those attacks he does are super effective. And then he can take any super attack in the game. Like, that's a lot with what this Piccolo Jr. is doing. He's really good. He's really good. And I think that he does need a little more help, but he has like a really good setup. It's the issue with Piccolo Jr. is he doesn't have like a really good linking partner for him. I honestly think his best team is probably Goku's team, where he gets like all these Dragon Ball Saga links, right? That's, yeah, I feel like that's pretty much his best team. Like, if we take a look at his partners, right, we don't have like a really good one. Like, AJ Metacooler is like, he's usable, right, for sure. Physical Metacooler is usable. Hachiak is not bad. I mean, these units are quite good, right? But these units, he doesn't get like big bad bosses. There's for Conquest, right? But with these units, he doesn't get like his Dragon Ball Saga links, right? We need like a new Demon King Piccolo, and then make this big bad bosses, Fierce Battle, and then he'll share 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 links with this guy. And then if they really want to be nice, I don't know. I mean, he already has a Dragon Ball Saga links. I guess they could give him. No, they won't give him transform. Like, just 5 links with them, and then all the Dragon Ball Saga links and stuff, and make this guy like a new LR slot 1 unit. And then that's really good for him, right? And that's all they have to do. But who knows if they're gonna do that for part 2? They might throw like a Roshi, Krillin, and Goku LR. Hopefully not. I feel like it's gonna be Demon King Piccolo, but we'll see how that actually does go down. But I like Goku better because I don't know if it's been my luck, but every single fight I always get the revive off with the GT duo, his best partner. And then with this up, he's better than Piccolo, I feel like majority of the time, except for the turn that I just described, where like giant form into active skill into mega stats right here, right? And like that turn, Piccolo is better, but I think it's way more consistent seeing this revival skill activate. And then the revive skill also does damage to the enemy. This guy is just guarding with like 1.3 mil defense, and then his leader skill is way better. Like this is like one of the best teams in the game. It's like Earthbred fighters, like every single, like, you know how good this is with Battle Fate 200%. It's like every single like final battle with like every Goku from like a final fight, every Vegeta from not Vegeta, every Goku from a final fight, Gohan from a final fight, Piccolo from a final fight, right? They're all on the 200% leader skill, you know, and it's like when Moro arc comes or something, and we get like UI Goku from the Moro arc when he's fighting Moro, he'll be on Battle Fate and Earth, you know, what's it called? Earthbred fighters, right? And that's really, really good. Any future revival unit, which they love bringing us revival units, buff this guy because he can activate this passive from an ally's revival skill, which is really good. Good links, I feel like, overall. A lot of teams. I think the one thing about him is that his standby kind of sucks, right? Like his standby is like, I don't know. It's so hard to activate because this is from his 6th turn. It's not from the 6th turn from the start of battle. So if you get him in slot 7, you can't use his standby until turn 9. And yeah, so that's why I completely ignore the standby. I don't consider it when looking at him. Although it's like itself, you know, with the scouter, you know, he recovers 59% HP. It could do okay damage, right? It supports, but I'm not a fan of how they handle this standby mode. Like the GT Duo one is just so much easier to get, and you just get down with them, right? Instead of using Goku's. So it's like a wasted part of like this Goku's kit that maybe could have been used for something else. Like if instead the standby, like what if he didn't, like if it was like a countdown, like, you know, you pick up the orbs and then you do an attack standby, then that would actually been way better for this guy. But it's not fun. It's not bad at all. But that's pretty much it. I had Fierce Battle up for that, but yeah. That's my top 10. Here is the tier list, like in terms of like tiers, is what I'm kind of thinking more or less, right? I think I like this a lot. I think I don't think God Goku is interchangeable. Kale, I think like these 4 maybe interchangeable. It's just, dang, it's so tough, right? And then these 3 kind of is interchangeable, which I don't know. Tiers, whatever. And then I made this earlier, which I was like, I made a tweet earlier. I was like, Vegeta Trunks isn't really like top 10 anymore. And then I look at it and it's like, no, you can put Vegeta Trunks here, but I like Path to Power Kid Goku right now a little more just because of the units, right? But like, yeah, obviously Goku Piccolo, I mean, you could arguably put them above Z2O, right? But I don't know. I just wanted to show you all this. Like, I generally think that they're top 10, like top 5 in the game. Like, they're that good. Like, these guys are on a different level than even God Goku, right? So that's it for me. If you like Piccolo better, I think I completely understand it. You could easily put Piccolo on 1. I personally would say they're like tied more than anything. Specific situations, like Goku with his revive is better than Piccolo. But then Piccolo with his, like, what's it called? Like, the active skill turn, he's better than Goku. It's tough, but that's it. Let me know what y'all think, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.